Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the program. It's Monday, October 12th, coming to you live from our studio in Seoul. I'm Kim Mo-kyun. Before we get started, these are the stories we're following at the top of the hour. South Korea has reduced its social distancing policy to its lowest, level 1, giving the green light to the partial resumption of operations in major businesses, including the 10 high-risk facilities. The COVID-19 situation in Europe seems to be worsening, with the UK and France seeing significant rises in daily infections. K-pop superstars BTS held their first online concert Map of the Soul 1 on Saturday. More than 100 million fans around the world took part in the long-awaited virtual event. On the COVID-19 situation here in South Korea reported an uptick in new infections Monday, with cases rising to 97. Though the figure stays below the 100 mark, it rose from an average 60 cases posted during the past 4 days. Of the new cases, 68 were locally transmitted, most of which were focused in the greater capital area. 29 others were imported from overseas. The total number of cases stands at over 24,700. One more patient died from the virus, with the death toll rising to 433. South Korea has lowered its COVID-19 prevention measures to level 1 as the long autumn holiday period has wrapped up. While this will enable high-risk facilities to reopen their businesses from today, tougher measures will continue for the time being across Seoul and its surrounding areas. Our Kim Hyo-sun reports.
The South Korean government has lowered its social distancing policy to level 1, the lowest on the country's three-tier social distancing scheme. This comes as the average daily cases of COVID-19 have dropped to around 60 for the past 2 weeks, and as the virus reproduction rate has dropped below 1.
The government has taken into account the level of fatigue experienced by the public due to prolonged distancing measures and their negative effect on the economy.
Beginning Monday, gatherings of more than 50 people indoors and 100 people outdoors will be allowed. But restrictions apply for events with more than 100 people, limiting the capacity to 1 per 4 square meters. 10 high-risk facilities, including singing rooms and large-scale private academies, will be able to resume operations, but with limited number of people. As for professional sports events, fans will be admitted, but stadiums have to reduce their occupancy to 30% of capacity.
Mask wearing will be mandated for public transportation, rallies and public venues. Starting November 13th, people who fail to wear masks will be subject to a penalty of around $85.
However, level 2 distancing measures will be in place partially throughout the greater capital area, in which the majority of the latest cases have been concentrated. Indoor gatherings of over 50 people and outdoor events of over 100 people will still be banned, while quarantine measures will be mandated for facilities deemed to have higher risks of infection, restaurants, wedding halls, and private academies. Eateries and coffee shops will have to keep a 1-meter distance between tables. Churches in the metropolitan area can convene in-person services with only 30% of their total capacity. A gathering ban will remain in place for door-to-door sales facilities and the promotional events they host, which have been one of the major sources of the latest outbreak. Kim Hyo-sun, Arirang News.
And with the lowered social distancing measures nationwide, more students will be able to return to their classrooms beginning next week. The attendance cap for all schools has been eased to 2/3. Our Kim Yeon-sung tells us more.
Education is on its way to being back on track. Under the previous level 2 distancing measures, attendance was limited to 1/3 of students in elementary and middle schools and 2/3 in high schools. But starting from next Monday, all schools are allowed to accommodate 2/3 of their students.
We actively reflected the demand for more face-to-face classes to ease the learning gap that has been widened with remote learning.
Schools are opting for creative solutions to keep the population density in check, like staggering class schedules throughout the day or having different grades come in on different days.
If schools choose to have morning and afternoon classes, we will consult with the Office of Education to gather and actively reflect their opinions on how to support teachers and to lessen their burdens.
Schools that are located in regions outside the capital with 300 students or fewer can accommodate more students than the cap allows. But schools with a high classroom population or schools in the Greater Seoul area still have to strictly follow the attendance cap. Cram schools with up to 300 students can also resume in-class learning starting from this Monday. Kim Hyun-sung, Arirang News.
Latest research shows COVID-19 can remain infectious on surfaces, including smartphone screens and stainless steel, for up to 28 days. Citing a study conducted by Australia's National Science Agency, the BBC reports that the virus can live longer than expected on smooth surfaces in room temperature. It also noted this is comparable to the flu virus, which can survive for 17 days under similar conditions. However, researchers explain the virus is most commonly transmitted through respiratory droplets from people sneezing, coughing, or talking. With the U.S. presidential elections just 3 weeks away, polls indicate that President Trump is struggling in key swing states. A national poll also suggests Trump is trailing Biden by a significant margin. Trump, eager to resume campaign rallies, claims he's now immune to COVID-19, and the White House is calling for resumption of the canceled second presidential debate. Our Kim Jae-hee has more.
With less than a month until the November 3rd election, a new poll shows President Trump is lagging behind his Democratic challenger Joe Biden in 3 key swing states: Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. The poll was conducted by Baldwin Wallace University in partnership with Oakland University and Ohio Northern University. It shows Trump is behind by 7 percentage points in Michigan, around 5 points in Pennsylvania, and almost 7 points in Wisconsin. Trump had won all 3 states back in 2016. A new national poll by The Washington Post and ABC News also indicates voters are leaning towards Biden. National poll of likely voters showed Biden led Trump by 12 percentage points, 54% to 42%. Observers say that Trump's handling of COVID-19 played an important factor in the polls. Trump, eager to resume campaign rallies and other activities, continues to insist he's feeling good. The White House has called for the resumption of the canceled second round of the presidential debate, originally scheduled for October 15th. White House Deputy Press Secretary Brian Morgenstern told reporters on Sunday that the president is ready to debate, adding doctors have cleared him fit to take part in public events. Trump has also claimed he has recovered from COVID-19 and is no longer infectious. Speaking in a Fox News interview on Sunday, he stressed he was free of the virus and insisted he is now immune. He also tweeted on Sunday that he is immune, which Twitter labeled as violating its rules by spreading misleading information related to COVID-19. Trump plans to travel to Florida on Monday and Pennsylvania and Iowa on Tuesday and Wednesday, respectively. Kim Jae-hee, Arirang News.
The COVID-19 situation in the UK is at a tipping point as the country sees daily cases skyrocket. And over in France, 4 more cities have gone into maximum alert status as the number of cases hit record highs over the weekend. Our Choi Min-jung has the details.
With the pandemic surging once again in Europe, the number of new COVID-19 cases in the United Kingdom and France has risen significantly over the weekend. According to England's Deputy Chief Medical Officer, the UK is at the tipping point in its outbreak, similar to the situation faced back in March. The UK government confirmed 12,872 new COVID-19 cases on Sunday, bringing the total number of cases to over 600,000. The country also reported 65 more deaths, bringing the death toll to 42,825. In order to contain the virus, the Scottish government placed tougher restrictions in the central belt of Scotland on Friday night. Under the stricter regulations, licensed premises including restaurants and pubs serving food and drinks must close, with the exception of takeaways. Meanwhile, licensed cafes with alcohol licenses can remain open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. without selling food and alcohol. On Monday, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is expected to announce to Parliament further specifics of the 3-tier lockdown system. Across the channel, the number of infections rose in France to an all-time high on Saturday, with almost 27,000 new cases confirmed. With an additional 16,000 cases on Sunday, the total number of infections in France now stands at around 735,000. The death toll in France currently stands at 32,730, with 46 additional deaths. With stricter measures imposed by the French government, 4 additional cities have joined Paris and Marseille on maximum alert status. The measures include the closing of cafes and bars.
The situation is deteriorating in several cities these past days, which have led us to shift a number of cities into maximum alert zones.
With the virus spreading across Europe, it is expected that strong lockdown measures, including border closures and the shutdown of various facilities, could be implemented again. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
Another milestone in K-pop history, Blackpink's debut full-length album called The Album has landed at number 2 on the U.S. Billboard 200 chart. The chart ranks the most popular albums of the week in the U.S. by compiling album sales and streaming counts. Blackpink sold 81,000 units of the album and hit 40.3 million on-demand streams. It's the highest rank ever claimed by a K-pop girl group and a record that hasn't been reached by any girl group since 2008. K-pop band BTS held an online concert over the weekend with more than 100 million fans tuning in from around the world. Our Lee Seung-jae has the story.
The COVID-19 pandemic has changed the way fans enjoy art, music, and entertainment. However, despite the lack of in-person concerts, K-pop superstars BTS still managed to grab the spotlight, this time through their online concert, Map of the Soul 1. Saturday's virtual event came after the 7-member group scrapped its initial plan to hold an in-person concert for a limited audience, in line with the South Korean government's tightened social distancing measures. Holding their signature light sticks, fans around the world shared messages in a chat room. Some fans gathered at a fan-run BTS-themed cafe in Seoul to watch the concert together.
I cried tears of joy. I don't know what to say. I never thought an online concert could be this big. Their performance was also so much better than I expected. I'm so touched.
As the group performed, a background wall of small screens showed thousands of BTS fans joining in from different parts of the world, with many waving trademark BTS light sticks known as army bombs. During the COVID-19 pandemic, it gave fans a reason to smile.
They sing to say everything will be okay and to cheer up, which is why fans around the world love them. Their performances are also amazing.
Since their 2013 debut, BTS has been at the spearhead of the global K-pop craze with their catchy, upbeat music and dance moves, as well as their lyrics which aim to empower young people. BTS's first all-English single, Dynamite, topped the US Billboard Hot 100 singles chart last month, the first time any Korean group has achieved the feat. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Good morning. The weather remains generous today. There was no big chill earlier, but colder air, though, will move in from the northwest this afternoon, and that means we'll have single-digit morning lows here in the capital tomorrow. It's going to be nearly 6 degrees Celsius lower than today, so we'll need to dress accordingly. But the highs today will range from 21 to 24 degrees Celsius across the country under bright autumn skies. What's more, there will be normal to good air quality nationwide, but winds will pick up after lunch. The East Coast will see light rain tomorrow. Other regions will be under mostly sunny skies for the time being, but it's going to get chillier and drier. In fact, many are heading out to check out the autumn foliage in the mountains, but please be careful with anything that could start a fire. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the weather conditions around the world.
That's a wrap for us at the hour on Arirang News. We'll be back with more of the day's headlines at noon Korea time, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching and goodbye.